Good morning. It's Sunday, March 28th. And today I'm going to talk about the most vicious attack in this country that isn't a mass shooting. It's the attack on our voting rights. It's being led so far by Georgia. In the state of Georgia, they have passed a new set of voting regulations. Governor Kemp sat behind closed doors to sign this bill, surrounded by 6 or 7 white representatives. And when a young female representative from the state legislature tried to get into that room, she was arrested and accused of kicking one of the police officers that arrested her. And I saw the video. And that video was playing all over the internet. And she did not kick anybody. She knocked on the door and she wanted to get in and she wanted to be there to watch the signing. And this is a ridiculous set of laws, a ridiculous set of rules that they have created in Georgia. It is clearly designed to keep the poor and the black and others who might vote Democratic out of the voting booth. It is clearly an attack on the Constitution. It is clearly bringing Jim Crow back to the 21st century. Everything that was accomplished in the 60s is going down the toilet quickly. Because in addition to Georgia, there are 25 other states that are planning to do similar things. And there are ridiculous things in this law, in this set of voting regulations. They have shortened the hours, removed the outside ballot boxes. They have even put in a regulation that if you bring food or water to somebody standing online, you are in violation and you can be arrested for doing that. Now, if you can imagine a group of people standing online in Georgia in the sunshine, and it's hot in Georgia, and it's muggy in Georgia, that they can't be approached by somebody and given a drink or given a half a sandwich or whatever it is that not ridiculous? And reducing the hours so that people can't get to vote? I remember when voting on Election Day was a holiday. Election Day used to be a holiday so that people could vote. And now we've come full circle, blocking people from voting, blocking people from getting a drink of water. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And then stand up proudly and say, we haven't done anything wrong. We're tightening the rules because of all the infractions that occurred. You know the thing that occurred in Georgia? They lost 2 Senate seats, and they provided President Biden with the margin of victory. And the Republicans stood by and had to say to Donald's face that there was no fraud. And they avoided his conversations when he asked Raffensperger to throw him 11,000 votes so he could win the election in Georgia. So this is their response to that. We're going to change all the rules. And maybe they think by shortening the hours, the dead won't vote. But I am telling you, the dead will find a way to vote no matter what voting hours are. And their claims about voter IDs, we need to have voter IDs that are substantial. What's wrong with having a voter ID? Well, there's nothing wrong with having a voter ID. But what are the rules for voter IDs, and why do you keep changing them? There should be one rule for voter IDs around the country. It could be one of a half a dozen different things that you use for voter ID. So what are they so worried about? They can make sure that everybody who wants to vote can get the proper voter ID. And what about this ridiculous law that if you miss an election, you're purged from the voting rolls? And then, of course, if you set the voting places so far apart that people can't get to them, then you have another problem. And none of these regulations that they have put in place have changed and made voting easier and better, which is what they should be doing. If they have nothing to hide, if they have great ideas, then why are they afraid of letting people vote? They know in Georgia that the majority of people are voting Democratic. Or maybe the majority of people have turned to voting Democratic, and they don't want that. They want to control their little fiefdom and keep people from voting. And in addition to the ridiculous rules about not bringing water to the people online, this law stripped the Secretary of State from chairing the Board of Elections. That's Raffensperger. And because he denied Trump the 11,000 votes, probably. Well, they stripped the Secretary of State of power over the elector, over the Board of Elections. And they have authorized state legislatures to name members to the board. And remember, the state legislature is roughly 60 or 70% Republican. So the Secretary of State has become a figurehead in this monitoring of their elections. And if the Board of Elections decides that they don't like the way things are being run in a particular county, they can just overthrow those people. So elected officials around the country are under attack if they don't do what the Republicans on the state legislature want them to do. So if you're elected by the people of the state, that means nothing unless you kowtow the Republicans who want to maintain control of Georgia, this powerful swing state. And they're probably all embarrassed because they screwed up the 2020 election, because they ran a fair and honest election, and that can't be allowed. So they'll talk about fraud and the big lie, but they won't say a word about jury-rigging the voting rights of people. And I say, let the dead rise up and vote these assholes out of office. They're so worried about people who have voted 3 or 4 or 5 times and are supposedly buried someplace when it's all a load. And if we truly want to understand what's happening in this country, is the Voting Rights Bill, H.R. 1, was enacted to prevent exactly what's going on in Georgia. But it doesn't seem to be working. And let's blame it on the founders who allowed for states' rights. And we have to be on the watch now for the other 24 states that are fiddling with their election rules. And pretty soon what will be happening is that you'll have 1 hour a day to vote. And if you're not the right color and the right size and the right shape, they'll find a way to keep you out of the voting booth. This is a sad state in a sad country. And that's all I have for now, and I will see you in the morning. Bye.